Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. We're promising you, and this is the promise part of the program. You can test us later about our promises delivered, but we're promising you a fast-paced program, which is why we start on time. We're here in Cleveland because we really believe that a lot of us want to learn about not just the lessons that Cleveland is learning, but the lessons that other cities around the world have to offer Cleveland itself. And who are we here? This gives you a little picture, a little snapshot of our collective organism of the next 48 hours. We're a group of people who represent lots of different types of organizations, not just public sector, electeds and appointeds, not just private sector executives, not just NGO leaders, philanthropy and otherwise, but we also have journalists in the room and editors from print and electronic media, and we have academic institutions who are, in some cases, our partners. And we want you to rely on the people that you meet as a resource. And we've organized the program in a way that you're going to get to meet a lot of the people in this room and hopefully make some new friends and maybe even find some new partners. One of the things that we're excited about is crossing the borders, crossing the boundaries, trying to get outside of the boxes that we tend to congregate in. And we've designed this program to really push us outside of our comfort zones. Each of these 8 areas you probably identify in your job title with at least one, maybe 2, but our goal is that we are becoming proficient in talking to people from all of these worlds and recognizing where the intersections and the overlaps are, because we think that in those intersections and overlaps, the places where these touch and cross borders, we're going to find some really exciting dimensions of the next evolution of the next city. And what that looks like is really our central theme today. We know that there are going to be a lot of different ways that we as a small nonprofit organization try to encourage this conversation. And we think that we do our best in the 12 months between each of these big annual leadership summits to get you in front of new ideas and the innovators who are standing up the innovations built around those ideas. And that's why we try a wide variety of approaches. You've seen the magazine that we just released today on your table. These are the best of the blogs that we had this year. We wish we had something 2 or 3 times the size because we had so many outstanding people contribute, a lot of you in the room, and thank you for that. People who are really pioneers, and we think of you each as people who should be spending time in the blogging mode with us, listening to the feedback which we get, which we capture, and we try to encourage this conversation across a lot of these dimensional lines. Our annual magazine is one physical manifestation of what we're doing with you to try to connect leaders and ideas to those leaders. We want you to give us your best ideas in the coming months, not just about what we can do better, and you'll be asked for survey feedback, but what we can do to encourage this crossing borders, connecting the dots, building partnerships. Because we know that the challenges that cities face in embracing new technology and creating inclusive economies and building a socially cohesive communities, these are things that will require new kinds of partnerships that maybe we haven't even seen before. And this is going to be a theme this morning. So this is why we chose the morning program the way we did, to set us on a path for a discussion that we hope will last well beyond tomorrow evening. To do that discussing with each other, our Director of Digital Strategy, Dave Hahn, developed this method for you to interact more concretely in the moment while you're hearing those stories get told on stage here. And that means submit your questions and discuss. When you look at the agenda on your phone, you go to our meetingoftheminds.org homepage, you'll see the agenda, and you'll see a chance to ask those questions and discuss the ones that have been posted and comment. And we'll be picking up the threads of this discussion throughout the next 2 days, but on into the future. And the speakers should pay special attention because those are the questions that people want to hear addressed when they're here on stage. But don't hesitate at the same time to give us your feedback and your questions and comments on Twitter, and we'll be watching both of those streams coming from you. If you need access here in the building, which we suspect all of you will, this is your way of doing that, and we've ramped it up so you're going to get lots of connectivity. We want you to stay connected, not just with home base, but with each other. And in that spirit of getting the conversations going, we have on page 24 in your printed program, not the magazine, but the one with the metal ring spine, the program has a list of the themed lunch tables, because we want you to have lunch conversations that carry forward all of these discussions. And some of you may opt out and just have a lunch rather than a themed lunch, and that's okay too, of course. So before we jump into the program, a special word of thanks to those who make this happen, because it's not an easy program to organize and it's not inexpensive. And we depend on these sponsors not just for their funds and their support, but for their feedback and their input about the innovations that they're embracing. And these are not just technology innovations, they're social innovations and they're policy innovations. So don't expect that all of these companies are only interested in having their logo here. They're actually people in the room from these organizations who are spending lots of time working on these themes. And we're infinitely grateful to them for their generosity. And some of these names you'll know, and some, like the Barr Foundation, you may have never heard of, but you should know. One of New England's largest grant makers, deep into the problems of Commonwealth of Massachusetts, mobility, equity, climate. These sponsors, like Deloitte and Cleveland Foundation, have not just participated in helping us formulate the program, giving us their ideas, but they're the ones who are also carrying the message back to their organizations. In the room, because of the need to have good Cleveland representation, we depended on our local partners and sponsors to tell us who are the key decision makers that need to stand up and be part of this conversation, to learn from other cities, but also to share the lessons of what's taking place here today. We decided that this year we would ramp up the scholarships that we provided, and there are 75 of you who are full scholarship holders, and a bunch others that you know who you are. These are people that we pretty carefully selected out of a larger pool of applicants. And in the future, if you think there's somebody who needs to be here, that needs to apply for an application, get them to do that, and get them to do it soon, because we were almost flooded in the process of sorting out. It was a hard choice. But we picked some entrepreneurs who are in the early stages of developing really innovative companies, some of whom you'll hear from on stage, and of course elected and appointed officials in the public sector and NGO leaders in the communities. So this is a little snapshot of who it is that joined us as a scholarship participant, because we felt that their voices needed to be heard. We really make an effort to make all of those voices heard, not just on our digital platform, not just in the program, but in every other dimension of what we're doing. We have media partners here. Some of you will be asked to spend a little time with them as they collect some of the ideas and then share them with the wider world. Freshwater, the magazine here in Cleveland, did a really good piece last week about what we're doing, and IdeaStream last night broadcast a piece at 7:30, which we'll post. We'll try to collect all of these clippings to give you a sense of what at least the journalists and the editors think of our efforts. And last night, you heard from Lev Gonik at our reception. Digital C here in Cleveland has really been our stalwart anchor into the real world. Their work, as you'll see, those of you who go to the workshop tour today about connecting the unconnected in the public housing projects here in Cleveland, will see, they're on the front lines where these words and ideas match up with reality. So that's a picture of our day today. You'll be getting hopefully a real experience of what we spent a year trying to present to you and organize for you.